And then, young Anthony, we moved on to what was probably the potential to be a very, very good match between, former friends, former tag partners, and that, that trio they were in with the music and all the rest of it. But Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, they had a fairly good build-up to that match. With Mahal's two sidekicks there and, Drew and the background they had, and of course Angela, his big sword named after his mum who had cancer and that, and so the build-up had been quite good, but I don't know. What do you think of the match?
It honestly,
yes,
should have been a kickoff.
Actually, yeah, that probably could have been a kickoff match. Mind you, if they wrestled how they wrestled there, that wouldn't have been a good kickoff to the show. I didn't think the match was that great, to be honest. I only gave it a 4.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it that too.
It was a short match. Again, maybe they were running out of time and they had to speed it up a bit because those things happen, particularly when you're on live pay-per-view and stuff. But, I don't know. Mick, I didn't like it.
Oh, look, I think in my notes here, I wrote down crap match eating potato chips, which was actually what was happening when I was watching it. Wanky and Shaky, which is his sidekicks. I don't think I know their real names, but I've named them Wanky and Shaky.
And Shanky.
Shanky, yeah, close.
But I don't mind their look, actually.
They look all right, yeah.
I think they look all right. I think they're... At Jinder Mahal, I was watching the match and I was thinking, how would that guy look, in an Arab type of gear, and you made him as an evil Arab guy. I'm thinking, as an Indian, Jinder Mahal, it just means nothing. There's just nothing there to it. I like the modern Maharaja thing that he was doing.
Yeah.
I like that. But I think if I'd have booked him, if I'd have seen that guy and booked him, I'd have booked him as an Arab. I would have. He's got that look to be like a crazy chic kind of character. But I digress off the thing. But for me, that's what I was thinking. I've wrote that down, actually. If I was booking him, he'd be booking as the next wild chic kind of character.
Yeah, but probably a bit late now.
Yeah, a bit late now. But I was just writing as I was writing down. The match, two big guys, neither one are going to give you too many high spots. My other question, even when I watched this match and I wrote down, is Drew McIntyre, whose dog did he kick? And you might say, why do I say that?
I was just going to say that. Why do you say that?
12 months ago, this guy was the champ.
Yeah, I know.
And now he's match 7 against Jinder Mahal, which is not really what you would call a marquee name to get over, and especially being the champ less than 12 months ago.
And don't forget, did that through the lockdown over there.
Pardon?
Did that through the lockdown over there and when there was no crowds and that, which was a lot harder to do.
That's right. And now he's, doing matches against Jinder Mahal. He's not even in the title race. He's nowhere near it. And I'm thinking, well, whose dog did he kick to get that unpopular? McIntyre over. I think McIntyre over should have been the natural thing.
Yeah.
I think on a colourful heel kind of thing, Jinder Mahal does have something, especially with Wanky and Shaky with him. I think that they need to look at the Maharaja thing a little bit more and be a little bit more vocal on it. And poor old Drew McIntyre, I don't know if they're figuring he's not money because he's a bit bland, because he is a bit bland.
A little bit.
He is a bit bland, right? Does he need to go back and look at his gimmick and look at himself and say, well, how can I get myself more over? I think that's, if I had advice for him, that's what I'd be giving him advice-wise.
Do you think the timing, would be appropriate now for him and his great mate Sheamus to team up and turn them into a tag team?
Yeah, I reckon so.
They could have a good run as tag teams.
Yeah, you give them
against Arcade Bro Yeah, because they're on Raw, although they'll be coming up to that draft soon, won't they? Or have they had...
You put them together.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could swing it without a problem. I think so. I think it'd be very, very good. I think they need something that seriously lack is some good tag teams. Serious. You only got the Usos, and you really got the Usos. That's all you got.
Yeah, true.
If you had, those two guys and just call them domination, and I like Wanky and Shaky as a tag team. I think you could do a bit with those guys, and you put together a few tag teams. Problem with WWE, they've never been big on tag teams.
Nah.
They use tag teams. Well, it's a bit like RK Bro. They don't know what to do with Orton right now. They don't know what to do with Riddle. So we'll stick these two guys together.
Yep.
And see if we just keep them in the mix until it comes up in a singles thing. Sometimes tags are perfect. I read this the other day with a friend of mine about the difference between the philosophy of booking at WWE and the philosophy of back in the territory days, Mid-South and Georgia and that kind of thing. And their main events were tags. Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, freaking well, the Rockers, the list went on and on as tag teams. And tag teams were as big as singles and the champion. You had Tully and Blanchard, Tully Blanchard and Arn
Anderson.
And then you had Anderson and Eaton towards the later in the 90s, So, Bobby Eaton towards later in the 90s, right? So you had great tag teams that were tag teams known in that result. The Hart Foundation.
Yeah, British Bulldogs.
They were from Canada. They booked those teams like that, even though that really the Hart Foundation was a WWE foundation where the Bulldogs were actually founded in Canada. But WWE and Vince McMahon has never liked that. He's never stuck. He'll split a tag team. He'll take what he considers the best talent and throw the other one out or put them with someone just because it's got nothing to do with them. I think they need to invest in tag teams. I think the reason why FTR went to AEW was because there was no investment in tag teams. Tag teams can draw. Tag teams can make.
Oh, good man, yeah.
Yeah.
Good teams.
I think it's an element that WWE misses out on a lot. They just put two people together that are names and hope that people draw.
But they did have some very good teams back in the day in WWE. I mean, if you look at Tanaka and Fuji, you look at the Wild Samoans, guys like that.
Tanaka, Fuji and the Samoans was under Vince Sr. Not Vince
true. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to look at Vince Jr.'s reign.
Yeah.
Vince Jr.'s always split him up. He's had the chance. He's always like that single guy. I think that's the thing there that if they want to move forward, I think they need to look at that in their booking philosophy now of tags. Because you can get just as much out of a tag team than what you can get out of a singles performer.
Oh, absolutely.
The other thing that they need to do, there's two other things they need to do. Stop writing lines for the guys to speak. Let them talk. Give them dot points. Let them talk. And start investing in a couple of good managers.
And on that comment you just made, if ever you needed proof of just let the guys talk, if you remember WrestleMania this year, and they had a delayed start because of the lightning and the rain and that, and they had about 10 minutes, I think, to prepare, and they just bought everyone, lined them up, and they did interviews, promos, not scripted. You could tell they weren't scripted. They were some of the best promos I've seen on WWE for years. Well, I remember watching it thinking, just let them go like this all the time. It was refreshing.
That's right. You give the wrestler dot points.
Yeah.
They stick to this dot point and give me 45 or a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And give it to me.
But this is the message we want to get across.
That's exactly right. Not right at hand, because it's like when you do a match that's fully scripted. I don't like to do scripted, right? Because I'm thinking of the next spot, but I'm now no longer working the crowd. For me, I'd my own idea of when I did matches was that I would work maybe the dangerous spots I would talk about. Something that was going to be dangerous. But the rest of it, let me flow, let me work the crowd, because the crowd will steer me in a direction of where they want me to go. And the same thing with the promo. You have to use your own emotions and your own feelings and your own speech to get that out. It's no good you writing me a full thing and I'm just reading it because it's robotic. And that's a problem with WWE as well.
And you don't feel it when someone's written it for you. You've got to be able to feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, like, with commentary and announcing and whatever, 30-odd years of doing it, I could never, ever, ever work off a script.
I'm the same with
I can't. It just sounds false. It doesn't sound realistic. I don't feel it. But again, I would just say, okay, so what's the message I'm trying to get across? And then just let me go.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's what I did for 30 years.
And it worked perfectly.
Well, but you felt it. It felt like there was some credibility or what you were saying, you actually believed it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, 100%.
Yeah, I've never, ever liked this whole... I mean, you think back to, when Gene Okerlund was doing interviews with all the various ones in there. But they were brilliant, some of those.
And it was off the top of the head, too.
Yeah. Because I saw something a while ago where they had a whole lot of outtakes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was on them. There was something. And you could see them, they've had 3 or 4 shots at it, which we've all done. But you know what I mean? But at least it was them. It was...
The worker spoke how he felt and how he said it. And the announcer, which is a worker, has said what he needs to say and how he needs to say it.
Yeah.
It's scripted.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
But anyway...
I think there's a bit of a problem with that side of things.